गिरिवरधारी गोपीजनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनातीरावनचारी यमुनातीरावनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram. Jaya Radha Shama Sundar, Radha Shama Sundar Radhe. Jaya Goranitai, Jaya Goranitai, Goranitai, Jaya Goranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. जय युग धर्म हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, शील प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। We are reading from Canto 10, Chapter 87, verse number 32. The prayers of the personified Vedas. Nrishu tava mayaya bhrimam anushva avagatya bhrisham. Tvai sudhiyo bhave dadati bhavam anuprabhavam. Katham anuvartatam bhava bhayam tava yad vrinukuti. Srijati muhustri nemir abhavat shraneshu bhavayam. Nrishu tava mayaya brahmam amishva vagataya brisham. Tvai sudhiyo bhave dadati bhavam anuprabhavam. Katham anuvartatam bhava bhayam tavat bhrukuti. Srijati muhustrinemi bhavat charneshu bhayam. Nrishu tava mayaya brahmam amishva vagataya brisham. Tvai sudhiyo bhave dadati bhavam anuprabhavam. Katham anuvartatam bhava bhayam tava yad vrinukuti. Srijati muhustrinemi bhavat charneshu bhayam. Okay, so it's a long purport, so we go to word by word meaning. It's long also. Nrishu among humans. Tava, your. Mayaya, by the illusory energy. Brahmam, bewilderment. Amishu, among this. Avagatya, understanding. Prisham, fervent. Tvai, unto you. Sudhiyaha, those who are wise. Abhave, unto the source of liberation. Dadati, render. Bhavam, loving service. Anuprabhavam, potent. Katham, how. Anuvartatam, for those who follow you faithfully. Bhava, of material life. Bhayam, fear. Tava, your. Yat, sins. Bhru, of the eyebrows. Kuti, the furrowing. Sajati, creates. Muhu, repeatedly. Trinemihi, three-rimmed. In the three phases of time, namely past, present, and future. Not. Bhavat, from you. Saraneshu, for those who take shelter. Bhayam, fear. Translation. The wise souls who understand how your Maya deludes all human beings rendered potent loving service to you, who are the source of liberation from birth and death. How indeed can fear of material life affect your faithful servants? On the other hand, your furrowing eyebrows, the triple-rimmed wheel of time, repeatedly terrify those who refuse to take shelter of you. Please repeat. The wise souls who understand how your Maya deludes all human beings render potent loving service to you, who are the source of liberation from birth and death. How indeed can fear of material life affect your faithful servants? On the other hand, your furrowing eyebrows, the triple-rimmed wheel of time, repeatedly terrify those who refuse to take shelter of you. Om Ajnanathimirantasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we'll read the purport now. It's a long purport. So we'll continue, also keep commenting on whatever we understand from there. So the translation again, very nice translation. The wise souls who understand how your Maya deludes all human beings. So the verse says that those who are wise understand that the Maya potency of the Lord is deluding. And then what do? They render potent loving service to you. So this is what the solution Srila Prabhupada repeatedly emphasizes in all his purports, classes, that we should get engaged in devotional service, serving the Lord. So it's very clear that in general human beings are deluded. So the solution is to engage in devotional service. And why to Krishna? Because he is the source of liberation from birth and death. How indeed can fear of material life affect your faithful servants? So we see in the scriptures, also Bhagavatam, we see many, many pastimes where the devotee of the Lord is fearless. So we can discuss Prahlad Maharaj, the most wonderful example, a small child, and was always preaching Krishna consciousness, was always practicing Krishna consciousness, but simultaneously continuous torture from the demons. And who was his father though? Hiranyakashipu. But he was fearless. He was always focusing on thinking of Krishna. He's of the process of devotional service. Prahlad Maharaj perfected Smaranam. So any one of the devotional service process, if we practice, we can achieve perfection of our life, which is we can achieve the lotus feet of the Lord or love of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Fear, more examples is, what are the more examples other than Prahlad Maharaj? Amrish Maharaj. Yeah, Amrish Maharaj also, Durvasa Muni tried to kind of create a situation of fear that, and he created that demon to kill him, but ultimately he was purely protected by Krishna because he was focusing on serving the Lord, not on thinking bad about Durvasa Muni or offending Durvasa Muni. He was focused on the process of devotional service. So that's the beauty of this process, that the devotee is always focused on Krishna. Nothing else bewilders him. Nothing else can become the cause of fear to him. And we were reading a few days back about these coward boys who move in the holy land of Braj with Krishna. They were also like fearless, always. Like our Ajay land is Agasur's land, as they say. And Agasur pastime was performed there. So when they saw Agasura, and his mouth was open, and some of the coward boys says, "Oh, this is a nice place to play for us. It's a nice cave, let's go there." And the other coward boy says, "No, this looks like a demon. Has some pointed teeth and his mouth is touching the cloud." So, but then finally they came to a conclusion that what are we discussing? If anything will come, Krishna is there. So that's the reassurance all the pastimes of Bhagavatam gives, that in any situation, Krishna is protecting always. And protecting what? So after those few chapters of Agasura, this chapter of Kaliya is there. And in that, the boys were praying. No, not the Kaliya. After Kaliya is the devouring forest fire. So in that, the coward boys are praying for protection from the Lord. And Srila Prabhupada writes that they are asking for the protection of the consciousness where they don't lose the sight of lotus feet of the Lord. They were not asking for protection of the body, what is body for them. They are already understanding that we are not this body but a spirit soul. So this is where the fearlessness comes from, when we understand this specific point that our only shelter is lotus feet of Krishna, and we pray for that, not for anything else. And then further, but this is faithful servant, so we have to practice doing this process. Not that it's easy to be on that stage, but then Srila Prabhupada was very encouraging that all of my disciples should be like Bhishma Deva, we all should become like Prahlad Maharaj. So, because it's the process that works, and then the most important part of the process is grace of the Lord and His devotees. By the mercy of devotees, by the mercy of Krishna, we become eligible. Not that because I am doing now more chanting, I am doing more reading, I am dancing more in kirtan, or yes, that is part of the process. We have to see that is to attract Krishna's attention. That is to attract the attention of the devotees, to attract their mercy. But we cannot ever think that now it becomes my claim, or it becomes my rightful right to claim these things. That now because I am doing devotional service, so now I deserve this. So it is never like that. They are always depending on whatever way Krishna. That is why it's written faithful servants. So servant doesn't claim anything. He's just trying to do what pleases the master the most. And he never tries to become the master either. No situation comes where he starts thinking now he's the master. And further the verse says, on the other hand, your furrowing eyebrows, the triple-rimmed wheel of time, repeatedly terrify those who refuse to take shelter of you. So the process is to surrender. But till the time I surrender to Krishna, I cannot understand what we just heard. There will be always fear in life. There will be always anxiety in life. Because the cause of fear and anxiety is bodily conception of life. The moment I think, he's speaking bad about me, or he's thinking to damage me, or steal my money, or trying to damage externals, so-called material possessions, that means I'm still struggling to understand that I'm an insignificant soul in creation of Krishna, like Brahma. We also hear in this pastime of that Brahma was not aware of that there are so many Brahmas. And when Krishna said, which Brahma has come, when he was asking the doorkeeper in Dwarka, and he said, so there are other Brahmas? So it's that much bewildering, this whole creation of the Lord. It's not possible to understand with this mundane understanding. And Prabhupada also writes in one purport that till the time we remove all our misconceptions of material life, we cannot understand anything about Krishna. So misconceptions means any conception which is contrary to the scriptures, as simple as that. We have a lot of discussions among ourselves, but if that discussion is not based on scriptures, it is a discussion of misconceptions. So we have to be very thoughtful when we are speaking, very thoughtful when we are hearing that what are we discussing? Are we discussing glories of Krishna? Are we trying to prove that Krishna is the provider, Krishna is the maintainer, Krishna is the annihilator, or we are trying to prove that we are that? So these are simple points, but this misconception is because it's very difficult to convince our mind that we are always in misconception when we are not doing devotional service. That's the only time when I am out of misconception is when I am engaged in rendering devotional service to the Lord. And any other time than that, I am in my misconception, which comes from my previous paradigms, previous mindset which I got from previous births. It comes in the subtle body. It doesn't leave us easily. So, no, this is good, this is bad, this is how it should be. But it is all, what is that slok? Manera Brahma, Ei Bhalo, Ei Sab Brahma. This is good, this is bad. This is all illusion. Everything is bad in that sense. So we have to be very careful that our purpose of life is to glorify Krishna, is to perform devotional service. This is the most important point. Prabhupada writes in one of his purport in Bhagavad Gita that Bhagavad Gita is establishing this point that the purpose of life is to execute devotional service. There is no other purpose. I can prove that I am a smart manager, but what do I gain? So one more designation, which is already preparing my next body. So the more designation I claim, the more life I am creating for me, and it's not necessary that only one. If I claim multiple designations, then already multiple lives are ready for me. So it's a very serious, thought-provoking process that if we go into any misconception which is not as per the scriptures, that means we are already on the wrong track. So all our conceptions, all our discussion, all our thoughts, all our hearing should be centered around the scriptures. Otherwise we are wasting our most precious time. This is what Krishna says, the wheel of time. Triple rim, there is past, present and future. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I am the past, I am the present and I am the future. So if somebody is already declaring that he knows the past, he knows the present for all of us, he knows the future for us, then ideally I should be inspired to surrender to such personality. All the anxiety I have is because I don't know the future. What will happen tomorrow? Will I get my food or not? Will I have my service or not? Or whatever, X, Y, Z. But if I understand that Krishna Balaram decides all these things, they know the future, they are the real decision maker, then I am already out of that anxiety and fear. That because of lack of faith in Krishna and lack of faith in this principle that Krishna is the controller, I might try to control the situation, but only to prove my foolishness. So it's very important, and that keep me engaging in this cycle of birth and death again and again, again and again. So we'll go to the purport now. The Vedas reveal their most cherished secret, devotional service to the personality of Godhead. So this is the most cherished secret by the personified Vedas, to perform devotional service only to those who are tired of material illusion, which is based on a false sense of independence from the Lord. So this is revealed to one who declare dependency on the Lord. Like Arjuna declared, okay, Krishna, now I'm surrendering to you. Whatever you will speak, whatever inform me in your teachings of Bhagavad Gita, I'm just going to do that. I have no other idea now. So that's declaring dependency on the Lord, that I am not going to do anything out of the injunctions of the scriptures. Only to those who are tired of material illusion, then this secret of devotional service is relieved. Otherwise, I will always keep thinking, no, something is more important than Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam. This is good that I am doing this, but if I don't do anything else, how the world will run, Everybody get engaged into this, then who will run the world? But it's not that easy that this will be revealed to anybody and everybody like that. Only if he's sincerely desiring to give up this material illusion, if he's tired of material illusion, the word used here is, then he gets convinced with the process of devotional service. Otherwise, the material opulences, they are enough to convince us the glories of material life, and we get attracted to different aspects of that material life. The Vajaseni Samhita of the White Yajur Veda contains the following mantra: Paritya Bhutani Paritya Lokan Paritya Sarva Pradisho Dishasya Upasthaya Prathama Jamsaya Manatmanam Abhi Samvivishesha. After passing beyond all the species of life, all the planetary systems, and all the limits of space in all directions, one approaches the original soul of immortality. Then one receives the opportunity to enter permanently into his domain and worship him with personal service. So we can understand how rare a fortune we have that we are engaged in devotional service. It says that after passing through all planetary system, all species, finally one receives this domain where he starts worshipping the Lord. So it's a very rare fortune we already have, so we should preserve it, and with full sincerity and seriousness and support from and blessings of devotees, we should try to continue this process. The proponents of various contending materialistic philosophies may consider themselves very wise, but they are in fact all deluded by the Supreme Lord's Maya. Yeah. So it's easy to get convinced with different materialistic philosophies, like the modern technology is convincing us, and the modern comforts are convincing us, yes, these are important. But more and more philosophical preaching, which is given by the Maya's materialistic aspect, we get more and more trapped in the material world. So we have to be very careful that are we discussing the nectar which is mentioned in Bhagavatam, because this was the situation of Srila Vyasadeva too. He was not happy writing all the Vedas, and unless until he started glorifying Krishna by the blessings of his spiritual master, he was not happy. So we might be trying to be becoming so-called intellectual personalities and grabbing knowledge from here and there, but the real understanding is revealed by the mercy of Guru and Krishna when we remain engaged in devotional service. So it's very important to be always under the guidance of some senior Vaishnavas who are tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya updekshanti te gnana gnaninas tattvadarshina, who are tattvadarshi. So we have to be under the shelter of tattvadarshis, not that whatever our mind concocts, we take shelter of that philosophy and that get deviated from this most precious jewel which we have, this path of devotional service. That is why Srila Prabhupada was very strongly pushing this point of not going here and there in Vrindavan, specifically devotees, going to different places to hear. We should be careful, and we have enough. If you cannot hear the class, Prabhupada said, you give the class. Sometimes people might think that this is not enough given to us what we speak here. Then okay, then again engage in preaching Krishna consciousness. But that doesn't mean that you hear things which are not connected to pure devotional service. But they are in fact all deluded by Supreme Lord's Maya. Vaishnavas recognize this pattern of general delusion and submit themselves to Supreme Lord in the devotional mood of servitude, friendship, and so on. So this point of servitude is also very important for the sadhana bhaktas, that we are all servants of Krishna. In general, it is not very inspiring to become a servant. So, but in all the relationships, maybe it be friendship, of a conjugal lover, or parent, the mood of servitude is always there. That's common. The principle is to serve the Lord, not to enjoy anything in that. And by serving, the devotee enjoys. So, Gopir Bhartur Pad Kamalyor Das Das Dasanu Das. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also emphasizes this point of becoming servant of the servant of the servant, the devotee of the Lord. That's very safe situation for a practitioner, and in that case, we can certainly attract the blessings of senior Vaishnavas and progress in our Krishna consciousness. So one should not start speculating that now I'm a friend of Lord, or I want to become parent of the Lord. That's not for our state right now. Where Prabhupada writes in the introduction, Swarupa, the Swarupa introduction of Bhagavad Gita. The Swarupa is revealed by the process of devotional service, and our constitutional position is servant of the Lord. That's very clear. Even in the chapter of transcendental knowledge in Bhagavad Gita, the main transcendental knowledge which Prabhupada emphasizes that when we understand our constitutional position of being servant of the Lord. So that's very, very important point, this servitude. The Vaishnavas understand this point, and they with that mood, they want to keep serving. Instead of heat and strife or philosophical quarrel, the pure Vaishnavas experience only delight at every moment, because the object of their love is he who brings an end to material entanglement. So devotee is always happy. So Srila Prabhupada speaks, one who is doing devotional service is always happy. I forgot the exact sentence. Or in other words, one who is not happy is not performing devotional service, is not engaged in bhakti. He is doing something which is contrary to the process, and that brings unhappiness to his life. And even all these moods which these devotees have depicted, like for example, Draupadi, struggling to protect her, or Uttara trying to protect her womb, or Prahlad Maharaj praying to Nrsimhadev when he was being thrown from the mountain, or thrown amidst the many poisonous snakes, or underneath a big gigantic elephant. So, or when Bhishma was also getting these arrows from Arjuna, these were all accepted as devotees, not as a pain. It is not like the external pain we think. This has an excessive of devotional service in that, which is at that current state, or at least I can say for me, it's difficult to understand how it works like that. But they are all really in ecstasy. It is not a mundane situation. This relationship with the Lord and devotee is not a mundane situation. So, same is this position of servant, that in material world we suffer serving somebody because the master generally exploits. But Krishna is not like that. When we become servant of Krishna, we enjoy, because Krishna reciprocates. He is a perfect reciprocator. What will he exploit? What he will gain by exploiting though? But our conception, the misconception I would say, the misconception we have from this material world is that servant means we will get exploited. So better be a master. And then we suffer more. That is why we are here. With that misconception, we continue staying in this material world. And the devotees of Lord enjoy constant pleasure not only in this life, but in future life. In whatever birth they take, they enjoy loving reciprocations with the Lord. So what is that bhajan? Janmao bhi more. Huh? Yes, yes. If I'm happy being a kit, is insect, in the house of a devotee, rather than a Brahma who is not even interested in practicing Krishna service or Krishna consciousness. So the devotee is not after anything external. He just, only thing inspires him to revive or to stay connected to Krishna's lotus feet, to revive that relationship with Krishna. That's the purpose of practicing devotional service, is to revive our relationship. Such a sincere Vaishnava prays, Natha yoni sahasreshu yeshu yeshu brahmami aham tatra tatra achyuta bhaktir achyutastu drida tvai. Wherever I may wander, O Master, among thousands of species of life, in each situation, may I have firmly fixed devotion to you, O Achyuta. So this is a very nice prayer. We can just repeat this prayer every day. That all we want, Krishna Balaram, is that we remain fixed in your devotional service. Some philosophers will question how the Vaishnavas can overcome their material entrapment without thorough analytic knowledge of the entire Tvam, you, the Jiva, and Tat, that the Supreme, and without developing a sufficient hatred of material life. This is a question, that how Vaishnavas get out of this material entrapment. And the answer is, the personified Vedas here answer that there is no chance of material illusion continuing to act on devotees of the Lord, because even in the earliest stages of devotional service, all fear and attachment are removed by the Lord's grace. So it's a very clear answer that if one remain engaged in serving the master of all these universes, master of material world, master of the spiritual world, master of all that ever existed, then where is the fear? Only even in the initial stages, it says in the earliest stages of devotional service, all fear and attachment are removed by Lord's grace. And this is what Prabhupada used to claim, that my disciples, my followers, even though it's only 1 year, 2 years they have joined me, they are better than all these yogis practicing for so many years. Hatha yoga, dhyana yoga, whatever they are doing. My disciples are much better than them. So he was very proud in claiming that, because that's the potency of this process of devotional service. It looks simple because it's like just chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, or cooking, making garland. It looks very simple. But it's very, very profound process, because it is from the scriptures. The acharyas have recommended us to do this. Time is the root cause of all fear in this world. Indeed, with its 3 divisions of past, present, and future, it creates terror at the prospect of impending disease, death, and hellish suffering. But only for those who have failed to obtain shelter at the feet of Supreme Lord. Yeah, so again the recommendation is one should take shelter of the Lord. And shelter is, actually surrender is the beginning. It's not that it's something very big to ask for. And Prabhupada writes in that verse of Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Braja Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Moksheshyami Ma Sucha, that this surrender is for us. We benefit if we surrender, not Krishna. It's increasing the responsibility. When somebody surrenders, then Krishna is more attentive toward that side. Then he has to take more of the additional extra attention, like the partiality aspect of Krishna consciousness. Somebody says Krishna is partial, but Krishna is not partial. It is natural that he is more attentive to his devotees. So the surrender is the process by which we can get out of this root cause of fear in this world. Because we are still holding on to our misconceptions of bodily concept of life, misconception of designations, misconceptions of family life, misconception of bank balance, big houses. All these misconceptions will take care of me. That is why we have fear. The only conception we have to understand is only by taking shelter of Krishna we can be out of fear. That's the correct conception we have to understand. So that will come by more hearing, chanting, and association of devotees, by grace of the Lord, by grace of the devotees, by mercy of the devotees. That's the process. So it's very powerful process to practice this devotional service. We should be always engaged in Shravanam Kirtanam. Sakrud eva prapannoyas tavasmiti cha yachate abhayam sarvada tasman Tadami etad vritam mama. To whomever even once surrenders to me, pleading, I am yours. Just once, if we speak this, I give eternal fearlessness. This is my solemn vow. So this is from Lanka Kand. So Lord Ramchandra is speaking this. What a wonderful benediction is this to the devotee. Just by one, if anybody speaks just once, I am yours. And that's it. Furthermore, in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, Devyesha gunmai maya duratya mame vaye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. This divine energy of mine, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. So certainly we can all testify, we are all testimony for that. It's very difficult. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. So again, the point emphasized is surrender. Right from the verse to the whole purport, he speaks about encouraging every soul to surrender to the Lord. That's the process. Like a small child. We were discussing a few days back with Rasaparayan Prabhu that how a child is. If he needs water, he goes to the mother. If he wants to go out of the home, he goes to the mother. If he wants food, he cries and goes to the mother. If he wants to sleep, he doesn't go to the bed. He knows where the mother is going to put him, but he cries and goes to the mother. So the point is, go to the mother. Any situation, go to Krishna. But what we do is we try to juggle our things and try to find a solution from our already existing misconception. But the real conception is, go to Krishna. Like Bhagavatam. Okay, Ashwadhama is attacking the womb of Uttara. So the whole Pandavas and Kunti, they gathered and started glorifying Krishna. So this is what we see. Whenever devotee go through a challenge, he starts glorifying Krishna. They don't hold a meeting to discuss now which weapon should I shoot now. That's not the process. The process is to think of Krishna. That's the process. So more prayers, more kirtan, more Bhagavatam. This is how we can come to the stage of surrender. Otherwise, I don't know then my mind is bewildered. If I don't understand this basic of Krishna consciousness, then my mind is bewildered. This is what the whole Bhagavatam is about. This is what the whole Bhagavad Gita is about. Every single aspect is just preaching this philosophy of surrendering. Vaishnavas do not like to waste their time in prolonged and fruitless wrangling over dry philosophic subjects. They won't rather worship the personality of Godhead than quarrel with philosophical adversaries. The Vaishnavas' understanding concurs with the essential message of revealed scripture. So this is very good point again. The Vaishnava's understanding concurs with the essential message of revealed scripture. So not that we are concocting anything. Whatever I speak should be coming from the scriptures. This devotee's conception of the Supreme Absolute Truth as the infinite ocean of personality and loving pastimes in his worshipable forms of Krishna, Ram and other divine manifestations and their conceptions of themselves as his eternal servants amount to the perfect conclusion of Vedanta philosophy in terms of entities, Tat and Tvam. So this is the perfect conclusion that we are eternal servants. That's the real conception we have to come to. That we are eternal servants of the Lord. The personality of Godhead and his emanations, such as the Jiva souls, are simultaneously different and non-different, just like the sun and its expanding rays. There are more Jivas than anyone can count, and each of them is eternally alive with consciousness. As the Shrutis confirm, Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. When they are sent forth from the body of Mahavishnu at the beginning of material creation, the Jivas are all equal in the sense that they are all atomic particles of the Lord's marginal energy. But according to their different conditions, they divide into four groups. Some are covered by ignorance, which obscures their vision like a cloud. Others become liberated from ignorance through a combination of knowledge and devotion. A third group of souls become endowed with pure devotion, a slight mixture of desire for speculative knowledge and fruitive activity. Those souls attain purified bodies composed of perfect knowledge and bliss with which they can engage in Lord's service. Finally, there are those who are devoid of any connection with ignorance. These are the Lord's eternal associates. These are four categories described of on the stage where a sadhaka is passing through. So certainly we are somewhere in these stages, depending on our seriousness and sincerity of executing the process of devotional service, executing the instructions of the spiritual master. The marginal position of the Jiva soul is described in the Narada Pancharatra. Yattat stam tu chidrupam sasamvedyad vinirgritam ranjitam guna ragena sajiva iti kathyate. The tatastha potency should be understood as emanating from the Lord's samvit, knowledge energy. So Sat, Chit and Anand. So from Chit, right? Chit comes samvit energy, knowledge potency. This emanation called the Jiva becomes conditioned by the qualities of material nature because the minute Jiva lives within the margin between the Lord's external illusory potency, Maya, and his internal spiritual potency, Chit. The Jiva is called Tatastha marginal. So we are between these two, external potency and the internal potency, spiritual potency and the Maya potency. That is why we are called Tatastha, marginal. When we earn liberation by cultivating devotion to the Lord, so this is also a point in the verse, I forgot to speak in the beginning. So only Krishna can give liberation. So we earn liberation by cultivating devotion to the Lord. That's the way to earn liberation, by rendering devotional service to the Lord. However, he comes completely under the shelter of the Lord's internal potency, and at that time he is no longer tainted by the modes of material nature. So this is not an easy situation to achieve, that we are free from these modes, because we are always playing between the modes, ignorance, passion and goodness. Always a combination of modes are working. So, but the process is, what is that word? Tada, rajas, tamo, bhava. Some slok is there, right? So we have to focus on devotional service, and then these modes will gradually subside. Mamevacho vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatite tan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances. So unfailing in all circumstances, not that if things goes the way I want, I will do devotional service. But now something is not in the way I want, so now I will not do devotional. So that's against the scriptures then. So it's very important to keep our devotees connected to this process, because we all keep struggling at different phases of life. So not that devotee become bad or I am good. It's about helping and keeping each one of us connected to this boat of Srila Prabhupada, where we sail along to our final destination. It's very, very important. Instead of finding faults, we should try to encourage by finding one good quality in the devotee. It's more difficult to do that, but it's helping. It pleases Krishna more when we do that. So engaging in devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus come to the level of Brahman. So this is how we transcend the modes of material nature, by being engaged in devotional service in any taxing situation in our life. Like Parikshit was condemned to death. He would die in 7 days. He was a big king, not even a small personality, he was a king. But he said, okay, I will continue doing my process of devotional service. He gathered the sages, start hearing Bhagavatam. So this is the real process we hear from the scriptures. Nobody went against the providence. Nobody went against the will of the Lord. We cannot even. It's not possible. We might think that we can, but ultimately what manifests is the will of the Lord. So one should be prepared to accept what Krishna manifests in our life. The object of the soul's worship is realized in 3 aspects: Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. Impersonal Brahman is like the radiant effulgence of the sun. The super soul or Paramatma is like the sun globe, and the personality of Godhead, Bhagavan, is like the presiding deity within the sun, complemented by his elaborate entourage and paraphernalia. Or, to cite another analogy, travelers approaching a city from a distance cannot at first distinguish its features, but rather see something vaguely shining ahead of them. As they come closer, they may discern a few of the taller buildings. Then when they are sufficiently close, they will see the city as it is, a bustling metropolis with many citizens, residences, public buildings, highways and parks. In the same way, persons inclined to impersonal meditation may at best gain some realization of the Supreme Lord effulgence. Those who approach closer can learn to see him as a Lord in the heart, Paramatma, and those who come very close can know him in his full personality, Bhagavan. So this is very famous example Prabhupada keeps quoting. These are three stages of realizing God, Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. And the example of, we know, and now here another example of city is given. So as I understand, even though I have heard that Krishna is a person, Krishna is a personality, still many of the time I act impersonalist, like an impersonalist, because when I don't accept supremacy of the Lord, that means I'm accepting somebody else as supreme. So that itself is a part of impersonalism also, because we are not accepting Krishna as a supreme personality of Godhead. And there are many ways where a sadhaka goes through this journey of realizing the stages. Not that we are fully convinced, otherwise, if we see Krishna Balaram not different from they themselves as deities, then our approach would be totally different. Then nobody can be like, relaxing, or will be very attentive to the situation. So that little aspect of laxity and impersonalism is there. So that will go away when we get more and more convinced with this process of executing devotional service in all situations of life. Otherwise, that impersonalism takes me away when I start thinking of other things. Like we hear the top examples in this canto of 10th canto about gopis. They were not concerned about anything but Krishna. The cowherd boys were concerned with nothing but Krishna. So even one of these verses we were reading in the 10th canto, when they were playing, all the cowherd boys with the cows in the forest, taking them on the grazing, they said, Krishna Balaram, now we are hungry. And then the comment is that they talked this because they wanted to feed Krishna Balaram, not because they were hungry. So that's the personalism. But when I think that I am hungry now, so let me cook something for the Lord, that's impersonalism still. So these are stages. This is how I understand. And it's almost there. In summary, Srila Sridhar Swami prays, Samsara chakra krakacher vidirnam virna nana bhavata pataptam kathanchi dapannam iha prapannam tvam udhara shri nihare nrilokam. So this is from Sridhar Swami. O Sri Narhari, please deliver those human beings who have suffered all kinds of torments and been ripped apart by the sharp edge of samsara's will, but who have now somehow found you and are surrendering themselves unto you. So it's a prayer. This is how pure the Vaishnavas pray for the benefit of all. This is what Prahlad Maharaj was doing, praying for all the demons, Hiranyakashipu. So there are innumerable examples where Vaishnavas have been praying for delivering other souls who are struggling to surrender. So that's also very encouraging for us, that even if I am not fully competent to take shelter of the Lord, but by the mercy of some devotee who is praying this to Krishna and Balaram, then one day I have a full possibility of getting that benediction where I can get out of the cycle of birth and death and get a glimpse of what it means to revive that loving relationship with Krishna. So we have a few minutes for comments and questions. Thank you all very much. There? उधर दीजिए.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. In the translation, the time is triple rimmed time. It is present tense, past tense, future tense.
Yeah, it writes like that. It's all given, past, present, future. It writes there. It is there, triple rim. In the purport it's there, triple rim, past, present and future. Behind. Param Karuna.
Thank you, Prabhu. That's three questions. It's short questions. You told that devotee never claim for the lotus feet of Krishna, but we heard the Brahmaji praying Taktenu Kampam Sushakshmano. It's a devotee's rightful claim. So at one point you're saying we don't claim, when the other point Bhagavatam itself is saying it's a rightful claim for devotee to claim to Krishna that, oh, I want to go back to Godhead. How can you understand this?
Yeah, it's a very good comment, and I would accept it as a correction also. But my understanding of speaking behind it was from my level that I start claiming things when I do some bhakti, some service. Then I think that now I should get this and now I should get this facility. I was speaking from that perspective. Oh. And certainly our prayer is to get the lotus feet of the Lord, but the mood is to depend on the mercy also. It cannot be like a materialistic endeavor that because I am doing, so I should get.
Perfect.
So that claiming, our understanding of that word claim is also a conception. That claiming is not demanding.
Bagging.
That claiming is begging and depending, yes. So it's also a mood in each word has a mood what we are speaking to.
Makes sense.
This is how I understand. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. You told that the fearlessness of Ambrish, you had the example of Ambrish Maharaj, Parikshit Maharaj, Chitraketu,
Prahlad Maharaj.
Maharaj, and you also give the example of
Can you
how
speak in the mic?
you also give the example how coward boys were fearless when they saw Aghasura's mouth opening this mouth. What is the difference between the Ambrish Maharaj and Chitraketu Maharaj feeling fearless compared to the coward boys feeling fearless?
Oh. It's difficult for me to explain. I'm sorry. Maybe somebody else can answer this. I think to me it's difficult to explain what they were feeling.
No. What is the difference?
Yeah, this is what I'm telling. What's the difference?
As per your realization?
I mean, difficult to explain. And all these different devotees, Amrisha, Prahlad, and the coward boys, what was the difference in their feelings of fearlessness?
Your microphone? Give the microphone.
I mean, the commonality is that they were fearless, as Prabhu is mentioning.
Pure devotee becomes fearless because he knows that Krishna is protecting him at all times. And Prahlad felt fearless, and Ambrish Maharaj felt fearless, and everyone who surrendered. But you were mentioning devotional service, but then sometimes we hear that under the order of the guru, so we know that chanting Hare Krishna is devotional service, reading Bhagavatam is devotional service, and just doing different activities which are pleasing to the Lord, but it seems that the Mangal Artik means that the spiritual master is engaging us in these activities. So that idea of cooperation for the order of the spiritual master is very important in order to kind of solidify the devotional service. And not for an angle, but one devotee is asking Srila Prabhupada, he said, well, Prabhupada, but when you're not here, because you're the spiritual master, how do we know what to do? Just follow your authority. So the idea is that, Rajarshi means like representative of the Lord, and so the guru is representing also the guru parampara and the Lord, and also even though just like there's a sergeant, there's a captain, there's a lieutenant, but still it's meant to be structured in such a way so that we can actually surrender and be fearless, that we're under the protection of the order of the guru, but there's also, we have to understand the depth of that surrender. Sorry about all that.
Thank you. Oh, here. 1 second, let the mic arrive to you.
You said that attending the lotus feet of Krishna means attending the loving devotion service. You made that statement. So, attending means loving devotion service is actually attending just the lotus feet of Krishna or anything else?
I mean, this is how I understand that we have to fix our eyes or our concentration or our vision on the lotus feet of the Lord. And there are many purports on this in Bhagavatam. And that is love for Krishna.
Thank you.
जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,